Hello again, and on this PhotoPie tutorial, we're going to be talking about how to set up the backdrop shots in your studio and how to create an appropriate lighting scheme around your backdrops. Now, there's basically three questions we want to ask when we're setting up these backdrop shots. The first question is, what type of image are we working with? We can see in this case, it's an image that provides a lot of sense of perspective and a lot of 3D. It really sucks you into the depth and the environment of the backdrop. So in this case, we want to provide a very gentle sweep. We want to pull the backdrop towards the camera and have it as gently sloping as we can so that it provides an easy transition between the environment you're standing on and the environment hanging behind you. You don't want the eye or the camera to be able to ascertain where the curvature happens. Now, there's basically two types of images. There's one that provides a lot of rich environment and a 3D perspective, and there's also the type that hangs straight down from the wall and goes at a right angle straight towards the camera. That would be the type that has a wall and the floor connected. At PhotoPie we have many backdrop shots that are indoors and have this wall with a floor arching out. So in that case, you want to drop the backdrop down until the wall reaches the corner of the wall and the floor on your studio and pull it straight towards your camera. No sweep at all. But in this one we want a lot of gentle sweep. Now the second question we want to ask is, what type of lighting scheme is going on in my background? Because we want to match our lighting equipment to the image in the background so that it looks like one seamless reality. Now you can see in this backdrop we have dark shadows underneath these arches, so it tells us there's at least one dominant light source coming from above. You can also see on these columns there's another light source coming on the right side of some of these columns. So it tells us two of the dominant light sources in this image is from the right and from above. And what's most important is not the lighting scheme that's going on behind me, but right where I'm going to be standing, where I'm going to be placing the subject of my photography. So when you're assessing the lighting, make sure you keep that in mind. You're not taking in every aspect of the image, but you're going to be looking for the lighting scheme of where you're going to be placing the person standing in your shot. So to the best of my assessment, the lighting scheme right here would be from above and to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a softbox on a boom stand so that you get an overhead, real dramatic light. It's a really hard and artistic light. It's one of my favorite types of lighting if I have the flexibility to choose based upon the leeway that my background image gives me. So we have this lighting here on a boom stand, if you can see at the top right hand corner. And the third question we want to ask is, where do we want to place our subject? Or another question is, what is the richest part of this image? In my opinion, the richest part of this image is right here. The background's not so bad over here either, but I think if you stood your subject right here, you would be blocking one of the richest parts of the image. And this hall, if you stand someone right here, you still get to see the part that really sweeps back and draws you into the depth of the environment. So I would place my subject right here. I'd probably place a chair. If I had two people, I'd have one standing and one sitting. And then with all these techniques combined, the lighting, the gentle sweep, and the proper placement of the subjects, you can produce an image that looks a little bit like this.
Now, as you can see, this backdrop creates a very good vertical image, so I would recommend that you put your camera on the mount in a vertical position. Also, if you place your camera on the mount slightly higher than normal, not too much that it foreshortens the legs or the lower part of the body, but just slightly higher than normal, then it will help with the outward stretching of the outside of the background that you previously saw as I was standing on the background. So in this case, it would make the bottom parts of the column and the floor not quite as stretched towards the outside, because the raising of the position on the mount makes everything more in perspective and straight in line with the eye. Finally, one little behind-the-scenes secret that you wouldn't know unless you're paying attention to PhotoPie tutorials is the way this shot came together. Originally, we had two models planned, a tall guy and a tall girl, but because the girl was unavailable and was not able to come, we had to change our plans. And so originally, instead of having about a 6-foot model paired with this tall guy, we had to have a 5'1" model fill in her place, so we had to have her stand on a wooden box underneath the dress. Now, if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't have noticed, but we have a 5-foot person in about a 6-foot costume standing on a box. But if you have to work with the ingredients you have, then sometimes you can hide it and no one will even know. Alright, well, thanks for tuning into this on-location special PhotoPie tutorial, and stay tuned for many more to come. Enrich your studios with PhotoPie backdrops.